Well, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday morning and it's August 5th. So I hope it's a beautiful day where you're at. It's fixing to get hot, as they say around here. I'm not sure what the temperature's supposed to be today, but it's going to keep going up. So uh, at this juncture, I would estimate that we're probably going to have church inside on Sunday for those that are wondering, because I think the forecast is in the upper 90s for Sunday. It might be a little toasty out on the backyard. We don't need to have anybody fainting during the sermon. That wouldn't look good, would it? It might make for a good YouTube video, I suppose, but we'd rather avoid that. So, at any rate, today we are going to be continuing our journey through Galatians. We're in the third chapter, and we're going to bite off verses 19 to 22 today. My goal is to hopefully be a little shorter. I say that every day, and I never quite achieve it, but hopefully I'll keep my ramblings under control. I want to share with you before we start in on that a story. I don't know how many of you have ever seen the little meme out there that shows the little girl with the great big screwdriver in her hand and a big grin on her face, and you can see behind her the door to her father's car. We assume it's father's car, and scratched on the door says, "I love you, Daddy." And we'll come back to that. Okay. Um, so with that, let's jump right in and get into 19 through 22 in the third chapter of Galatians. Why then the law? It was added because of transgressions, until the offspring would come to whom the promise had been made, and it was ordained through angels by a mediator. Now, a mediator involves more than one party, but God is one. Is the law then opposed to the promises of God? Certainly not. For if a law had been given that could make alive, then righteousness would indeed come through the law. But the Scripture has imposed all things under the power of sin, so that what was promised through faith in Jesus Christ might be given to those who believe. Now, we've been talking about the promise, the covenant made to Abraham, and that predated the law by a good 4 centuries. And so this is Paul's point that the law didn't change that original covenant. Um, and it says it was added because of transgressions, until the offspring could come to whom the promise had been made, until the time came, until Christ came into the world to bring everyone, to begin to bring everyone on board. The law was there. Um, and of course, then we have the issue of, I told the little story about the little girl. The function of the law, as I believe I've mentioned a few days ago, um, without the law, now that little girl looks so happy. She's done this, and she's showing Daddy that I love Daddy. But she's scratched up the brand new car because it looks like a very nice car behind her. Um, and she didn't understand that what she was doing was wrong. And as such is the case with the law. Without the law, would we understand that what we were doing was truly a sin? Um, that's a philosophical debate that has raged on through the ages. I suspect that for most of those things, no, we wouldn't have known. In many cultures, killing was not taboo by any means, and so we have "thou shalt not murder," or "thou shalt not kill," depending on how you translate it. Murder is actually a better translation than kill, but "thou shalt not murder." But in many cultures, warlike cultures, many of our Native American cultures in other parts of the world, even cultures in the Germanic tribes, they were very warlike tribes. For many of those cultures, there was no bigger honor or prestige for someone than how many enemies they had killed in battle. And that was something that they took great status in. And so it was very much something that we needed to have revealed to us, that you're supposed to love your enemies like you love you're not supposed to kill your enemies. That's really a foreign idea for many cultures, and would still be a foreign idea for some cultures to this day. So we wouldn't have known without the law that we were violating these things that God wishes for His creation. This is God's desires for His creation. We have to remember that. This world that we're blessed to live in, God created it and allows us to live in it, but it's not. We didn't make it. We didn't create it. We are blessed to live here, to do His bidding here, to do His work here. So, and of course, this whole thing, to backtrack just a little bit, this whole thing about the revealing of the law, if your ignorance, this point of innocence and ignorance and not knowing, was one of the real contentions when it came time when people were sending out missionaries to different parts of the world. It was something that was debated quite hotly about when we send people out to these other places that don't know Christianity, don't know Judaism, don't know anything about the Ten Commandments and all of the other 603 laws. Are we causing, or are we condemning them? Are we damning some of them by exposing them to that, so that then their ignorance is not in a state, they don't have a state of ignorance any longer. And that was a big philosophical, theological debate. I think we came to the right decision personally. I think that you needed to go out and share the good word. We needed to be preached to all the earth, and that's what we were called to do. And so I don't think that we did the wrong thing. I don't think that the Catholics or the Protestants, either one, were in the wrong in taking those things. And now politically, you can get a lot of arguments on that outside a theological debate, but it's strictly in the eyes of us as Christians, it's really a theological issue. And of course, we have to argue theology into politics, and sometimes that don't work so well. But that's the point. The point here is that we need to inform people about what's right and wrong. And then we need to let them understand that, yes, unfortunately, because of our humanness, our fallenness, we are very much prone to doing things against the wishes of our Creator. And therein lies the issue of that is what distances us. That's what sin does. Sin distances us from God. And sin is doing something against the wishes of our Creator. That's pretty much a nutshell of what sin is. And of course, the scriptures give us the idea of what is within His desire for us as His creation. And it's through Christ that we are reconciled to the Creator because of the fallenness and because of our inability, because of our human nature that drives us to, largely because of ego and arrogance and insolence and all of those words like that. There's lots of them words, but it's because of us. No one else causes us to sin. It's all on us. And your life will go better when you finally admit that to yourself and you finally admit that to God. So try to do that today. So I'm going to cut off there, and by golly, I did keep it a little bit shorter. Tomorrow we're going to finish up chapter 3, and so we'll be looking at verses 23 through 29 tomorrow, and there's some good stuff in that too. So make sure you have a wonderful day. Like I said, I'm not sure how hot it's supposed to get today. It's beautiful out right now, but use caution the next few days. It's going to get warm. All right. Have a blessed day, and of course, be a blessing to someone today. We'll see you in the morning.